this type of injury, like you don't know. When I wake up, I'll feel, different than the day before. And
this is the first time we heard from Caitlin since the team announced on Memorial Day she was dealing with a left quad strain. She would be out for at least 2 weeks.
We were told that Clark was not seen in the open portion of practice by reporters who are on the ground there.
Just watch and absorb it, and it's the same when, I'm not active too.
The WNBA is upset that Caitlin Clark finally told them about her injury, and it's not what they wanted to hear.
We'll see. It could be a possibility, but I could also not be available for that game too. I think just having good perspective is the best way to approach it. Like, yeah, you can be frustrated and whatnot, but, I think the medical team has done a really good job of,
The fear is clear. The whole operation depends on one woman, and they've pushed her so far that she can't play or save their empty arenas any longer.
Yeah, I'll be reevaluated this weekend, so I'll miss this weekend's game. But after that, it's, day by day and see how I feel and just kind of turn to the medical staff and what they think.
Caitlin Clark finally spoke out, and surprise, surprise, she's not coming back early. I mean, did we really expect her to play in the WNBA? They beat her up every night like she was in a street fight. And now we're all supposed to be shocked that she's not coming back right away?
I think the medical team has done a really good job of, doing my rehab every single day, staying in a routine, coming in, getting shots up. But more than anything, I think just focusing on being a really good teammate, being there for my teammates, being a voice for them.
On May 25th, during a big match against the New York Liberty, who are currently the champions, Clark went down clutching her left quad. That's your top player, your most valuable asset and the face of the team, and the league apparently didn't think it was a big deal.
We've been told so far by the team is that this is actually an injury that was separate from the quad tightness issue, as Caitlin Clark described it earlier in the preseason, that she dealt with before. So it's a little bit of interesting situation given that it was the same leg.
So on Memorial Day, the fever finally said it. She'll be out for at least 2 weeks. Suddenly, the league started to fall apart like it was held together by Scotch tape. Clark herself said she'll miss this weekend's game. And then it'll be day by day depending on how she feels. So don't hold your breath. She's not risking her career so the league can keep milking her while doing nothing to protect her.
Caitlin was asked when she's expected to come back. She told us she would be reevaluated after the weekend. After that, it would be day by day. The Fever are on the road for 2 road games before coming back to Gainbridge Fieldhouse next Saturday.
June 9th is the reevaluation date. And let's be honest, no one's expecting her to be back like it's some Marvel movie comeback. She's human, not a marketing machine. And this injury has clearly pushed her patience to the edge. But what's Caitlin doing while sidelined? Actually learning, observing, being a leader from the bench. Meanwhile, the league is doing what? Blaming gravity, I guess. And the fans, oh, they're not just disappointed, they're furious. You'd think the WNBA would have seen this coming, but nope. The second Caitlin got hurt, it was like a nuke dropped on the entire ticket market. The June 7th game against the Chicago Sky was supposed to be a blockbuster. Clark versus Round 2. Yeah, well, ticket prices fell off a cliff. A hat at Venizos is from 80 plus to 14. That's not just a dip, that's a full-blown fire sale. Hotels and people actually canceled trips because they didn't think it was worth the gas money. And I don't blame them. Who wants to pay a lot of money to watch Angel Reese act like she's in a Gatorade commercial while the real star of the league is out with a broken quad?
Caitlin telling us she's been a connector between her coaches and teammates. They've gone 1 and 2 without her, and they'll be without her again this weekend.
Hashtags like hashtag boycott WNBA and hashtag Deus protect our players took over social media. And for once, the internet made sense. One tweet said it all. Why support a league that can't protect its brightest star? That tweet got so many retweets that it's no longer even a question. Fans are done being quiet, they're angry, and they have proof.
So I think that's just kind of been the time for me to really find some patience, and I've never been a patient person my entire life, so this has definitely tested me a little bit, but I think it's going to be really good for me. And like I said, I've just tried to approach it in the best way I possibly can. I can't change it.
Fever ticket prices dropped sharply, from an average of $137 to $80, and that's not a marketing problem, it's a league-wide meltdown. That's what happens when the person who carries your whole brand on her back gets hurt, and everyone realizes, oh wait, there's no backup plan, just vibes.
The girl is spectacular. It's not like she's not a scrub, she's not only can play, she's a star caliber player who draws this attention.
The girl is spectacular. Not only is she a star caliber player, she's also not a scumbag. The worst part is that some of her obvious fouls were actually overturned. So instead of holding her accountable, the league basically gave her a pat on the back. It's like, great job almost decapitating someone, here's a sticker. What are we doing here? The WNBA's review system is so broken it might as well be run by Magic 8 Balls. WNBA's trash, and don't even get me started on the WWE cosplay happening in these games between Reese's fake drama and Carrington's reckless attacks. It looks more like a scripted smackdown than professional basketball players are falling like dominoes, and the league is just watching from the sidelines tweeting inspirational quotes.
We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season. If you have something going on in your legs, like your legs are actually a huge part of your shooting mechanics, something was thrown off. So if that part of her body was thrown off, it probably threw off the entire mechanic.
So let's call it what it is. Caitlin Clark is out, and the WNBA is exposed. The hype's gone, the seats are empty, the tickets are cheaper than a Happy Meal. Angel Reese is still pretending she's in some superstar rivalry. But without Caitlin, she's basically yelling into the void, and Carrington, she's out here mistaking people's heads for basketballs.
When a player is injured, if the other team knows that a player is injured, they will go at that player.
This isn't competitiveness, this is carelessness, and it's not on Clark to fix it, it's on the league. But judging by how things are going, the only thing the WNBA is protecting right now is its own denial. Let's not sugarcoat it. When Caitlin Clark left the court, so did the fans, the energy. And apparently the WNBA's entire business model viewing dipped like a rigged crypto coin. The arenas started echoing like empty warehouses, and even the popcorn vendors looked bored.
I think just focusing on being a really good teammate, being there for my teammates, being a voice for them, because that's what I am when I'm playing. So you got to still be that consistent voice when I'm sitting on the bench. So I try to do that as much as I can for them, and just try to be there for them, I think, has been my focus.
The Indiana Fever went 1-2 in her absence, and that one when it wasn't because of some magical coaching epiphany, it was because of Ari McDonald, a player who literally got signed on a hardship contract, showed up with zero practice, and still managed to carry the team like she'd been there all season.
Everything that you guys told us during the offseason about playing quick, playing with pace, pushing the ball up the court, everyone run, they weren't doing that, especially in the last 2.
And trust me, the fans noticed. Social media turned into a full-blown riot after Clark's injury. X, TikTok, YouTube, they all lit up like a Christmas tree on fire. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were ready to burn the house down. People were demanding stricter officiating, actual protection protocols, and a complete reboot of how stars are promoted. You'd think after losing your biggest asset to reckless contact, the league might, I don't know, show some urgency. But now the WNBA's official stance seemed to be, let's hope no one asks questions.
One thing to keep in mind is that this is a sort of situation where the next 2 weeks, luckily for them, the schedule is a little bit playing the Chicago Sky, the Connecticut Sun, who haven't won yet. So they are trying to hold down the fort for now while Caitlin Clark will be out.
And let's be honest, the phrase, this league is trash without Clark, didn't just trend by accident. People were furious over dirty plays, blown calls, and the league's PR team pulling a full-on disappearing act. It was like the WNBA hit the mute button on itself. The second accountability was needed.
A lot of you were commenting that she was sick. You could hear it in her voice that she was sick. It seems like at this point, this is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
Critics were calling it out. Fans were reposting videos of body slams being passed off as defense. It was chaos. And what's worse, the WNBA has too many games hinging on too few names. Where's the support for A.A. Wilson? Where's the hype for Sabrina Ionescu? Even Angel Reese, for all her performative antics, could have been elevated properly if the league knew how to build narratives around more than one person at a time. But instead, we've got a league hanging off one cliffhanger, and now it's dangling, with no conclusion in sight.
Covers up a lot of stuff when you're in the heat of battle, and after the game I had some pain, and then got an MRI, and that kind of gave me the result that I didn't want to see. But those type of things don't lie, so yeah.
We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season. If you have something going on in your legs, like your legs are actually a huge part of your shot mechanics, something was thrown off. So if that part of her body was thrown off, it probably threw off the entire mechanics. Caitlin's injury didn't just sideline a player, it sucker punched the entire WNBA ecosystem. You want to talk about a turning point? This is it. Because when she left, everything fell apart: revenue, engagement, excitement. Poof gone, and now fans want answers. They're not sending cute messages, they're demanding change. They're asking why the NBA has biometric tech specialized trainers and load management, while the WNBA has YouTube clips and cross fingers.
That it's going to be longer than 2 weeks. With them saying a minimum of 2 weeks, I feel like that's kind of just giving us breadcrumbs, just giving us enough information. And I actually don't think that they're going to give more for the sake of Caitlyn.
The demands are clear. Invest in actual player safety. Start selling more than just one person. Stop letting players get decked midair with no foul call. And please someone teach these teams how to protect shooters from being cross-lined every other night. Caitlyn's return date still unclear. No one wants a rushed comeback. And frankly, she shouldn't even consider it until the league proves it can protect her. She's not just the player anymore, she is the brand, the face, the draw, the revenue generator, the whole ecosystem, and yet she's the one lying on the court not moving while the league just shrugs. The WNBA either grows up right now or it watches its golden goose fly away and never look back, because Clark may be on the bench, but her silence is louder than any bell in the building, and people are finally listening.